Snow had a way of quieting everything it touched. That night, it fell thick and heavy over the city, muting sirens, softening streetlights, and covering the violence beneath a white, indifferent calm. To anyone watching from a window, it might have looked peaceful, but on the ground, behind a row of shuttered shops, peace had been torn apart. Officer Daniel Mercer lay on his side, breath shallow, the cold biting through his uniform. Each inhale burned. He could taste blood, his own mixed with the metallic tang of winter air. Somewhere nearby, a man was screaming orders. Another was crying, and somewhere closer still came a low, savage growl that cut through everything else. Rex, the German shepherd, stood over Daniel like a statue carved from muscle and instinct. Snow clung to his black and tan coat, melting where warm blood seeped from a deep stab wound along his flank. The knife had been meant for Daniel. Rex had seen it before Daniel ever could. Even now, with his handler barely conscious, Rex refused to move. Anyone who came close was met with bare teeth and eyes blazing with warning. A paramedic tried once. Carefully, Rex lunged, stopping inches from the man's throat. Easy. "Boy," someone said, voice shaking. Rex did not ease. Daniel tried to speak. His throat refused. Darkness crept in from the edges of his vision, thick as the snow. The last thing he felt before losing consciousness was Rex's weight pressed against his side, anchoring him to the earth as if sheer will could keep him alive. When Daniel woke again, it was under blinding lights. The hospital smelled of antiseptic and quiet urgency. Machines beeped in slow, steady rhythms that felt far too calm for the pain tearing through his shoulder. Voices floated in and out. Doctors, nurses, clipped phrases that meant everything and nothing all at once. Bullet missed the artery. Lucky. Surgery went longer than expected. Dog. Daniel's eyes fluttered open. "Rex," he rasped. "Where's Rex?" A nurse hesitated. "Just long enough. He's alive," she said carefully, "but injured. He's at the veterinary unit." Daniel closed his eyes again, relief and dread tangling together. Rex alive, but alone. The thought gnawed at him even as the medication dragged him back under. Across town, Rex was fighting a different battle. The police veterinary unit was warm, bright, and full of unfamiliar smells. To Rex, it might as well have been another world. His wound had stopped bleeding only because his body had slowed itself down. Shock had set in, but he refused to lie down. He paced the reinforced treatment bay in tight circles, nails clicking against the floor, breath coming fast and uneven. Every instinct screamed the same terrible truth. Daniel was gone. He had seen it before. Handlers who didn't come back. Voices that vanished forever. The night Daniel collapsed, Rex had felt the bond snap like a leash cut clean through. No voice followed. No command came. The people tried to approach him. Gentle hands, calm voices. None of it mattered. Rex snapped at the air. A warning born not of aggression, but of grief and fear twisted together. If they came closer, they would take him somewhere else, away from where Daniel should be. Doctors spoke in low tones outside the enclosure. "He's losing blood. We can't get near him. We may have to sedate." Another voice, older, heavier with doubt. "His vitals are unstable. Sedation could stop his heart." Rex collapsed briefly, legs buckling, only to force himself back up again. His eyes never left the door. Snow piled against the windows, blurring the outside world into nothingness. Time passed strangely, too fast and too slow at once. Rex's breathing grew ragged. His body trembled, but still he would not surrender. Hours later, Daniel surfaced again. Pain pulled him back to consciousness, sharp and insistent. His mouth was dry, his body felt wrong, heavy, distant. A doctor noticed his eyes open and leaned in. "You're stable," she said, "but you need to rest." "Rex," Daniel whispered. "He won't let them help him." Her expression faltered. "How do you—" "I know him," Daniel said. His voice was weak but steady now, fueled by urgency. "He thinks I'm dead." Silence filled the space between them. "He needs to hear me," Daniel said. "Please." Protocol was mentioned. Risk was discussed. But Daniel had been a police officer for over 20 years. He knew when rules mattered and when something deeper did. Finally, the doctor nodded. "We'll take you." Briefly, the trip down the corridor felt endless. Daniel watched ceiling tiles pass overhead, each one identical, each second stretching thin. He wondered if Rex would even recognize him, wondered if his voice would be enough. At the veterinary unit, staff paused as the gurney arrived. Inside the treatment bay, Rex froze mid-step. His ears lifted. The growl faded into a low, uncertain sound. He turned slowly, eyes locking onto the doorway. Daniel pushed himself forward with what little strength he had. His chest tightened. Rex looked smaller somehow. Still powerful, but wounded, fraying at the edges. Daniel swallowed and leaned closer to the edge of the gurney. "Rex," he breathed. The dog's entire body went rigid. Daniel forced air through his lungs and whispered the command he had used only a handful of times in 10 years. Never in training, never around others. "Stand down, old friend." Rex's legs shook, his head lowered. The fight drained out of him all at once, leaving only exhaustion and belief. He took one step forward, then another. For the first time since the snow-covered street, Rex lay down. Doctors moved quickly. Hands touched fur. Wounds were cleaned, bandages applied. Rex did not resist. His eyes never left Daniel. As the sedation finally took hold, gentle this time, Rex exhaled deeply, as if releasing hours of terror in one long breath. Daniel closed his eyes too. Winter still raged outside, but inside that room, something had survived. When Daniel woke again, daylight filtered weakly through a narrow window, pale and colorless as watered milk. For a moment, he didn't know where he was. Pain pulsed dully through his shoulder and chest, no longer sharp, but insistent, like a reminder not to forget how close he had come. Then he felt the warmth. A familiar weight rested against the side of his bed. Not heavy, not pressing, just there. Steady, breathing. Daniel turned his head slowly. Rex lay curled on the floor beside him, head resting near Daniel's hand. A thick white bandage wrapped his flank, clean and secure. His chest rose and fell in a slow, even rhythm. The wildness was gone from his eyes, replaced by something softer, older. Relief washed over Daniel so powerfully it made his vision blur. "You stayed," he whispered. Rex's ears twitched. One eye opened. The tail thumped once against the floor. Careful. Restrained, like a man tipping his hat rather than cheering. A nurse appeared quietly in the doorway, smiling. "He hasn't moved since they brought you back," she said. "We tried to take him out twice." Daniel nodded faintly. "He's where he belongs." Outside, the storm that had raged all night had settled into a gentler snowfall. The city was wrapped in white, edges softened, sounds hushed. It felt as though time itself had slowed, allowing broken things the space to mend. Recovery came in measured steps. Daniel spent long days relearning small movements, lifting his arm, standing without dizziness, walking the corridor with careful determination. Rex healed alongside him, taken out only for brief checks and slow, supervised walks. They moved like two veterans of the same war, neither rushing the other, both understanding the cost of pushing too hard. Staff members often paused to watch them. Some shook their heads in disbelief. Others simply smiled, as if witnessing something rare and sacred. One afternoon, as snow tapped gently against the windows, an older veterinarian stood beside Daniel's bed. "I've been doing this a long time," she said quietly. "I've seen loyal dogs, smart dogs, brave ones." She glanced at Rex, who lay alert but calm. "What I saw that night, that was something else." Daniel looked down at his partner. "He thought I was gone." She nodded. And yet, he waited. Weeks passed. Winter loosened its grip little by little. Snowbanks shrank, turning gray at the edges. Sunlight began to carry a hint of warmth again. When Daniel was finally cleared to leave the hospital, Rex walked beside him, leash loose, head high. They stepped out into the cold air together, breathing it in as if testing a promise. Back at the precinct, things felt different. Daniel noticed it in the way colleagues spoke more softly around Rex, in how new officers listened closely when Daniel talked about partnership, not control, about trust, not command, Rex returned to duty eventually, though at a gentler pace, fewer night shifts, more training work. Daniel, older now in ways that had nothing to do with years, welcomed the change. Some evenings, after a light snowfall, Daniel would take Rex out for a slow walk through the quiet streets. They would pause beneath streetlights where snow still gathered in soft drifts, the world hushed and reflective. Daniel often thought about that night, the moment everything could have ended, about how close he had come to losing not just his life, but the one being who understood him without explanation. He would rest a gloved hand on Rex's head and murmur, "Good boy." Rex would lean into the touch, steady and present. Winter would return again, as it always did. Snow would fall, covering old scars, hiding hard truths beneath a clean surface. But Daniel knew now, some bonds don't freeze, they endure, waiting patiently for a familiar voice to call them back from the cold.